This is the most broken shed defense in Madden 26, and it had my opponent running for his life all game long. It was also the same defense used by David T, Henry, and even Kobo in the Madden Bowl. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use it, the abilities that make it work best, and the coverages to put behind it in a high-level competitive game against pro player and content creator OG2K. And as usual, this match had over $5,000 staked on it on 1v1me.com. More on them later. All right, boys, we got another great one in store for you today, and we're introducing a emerging meta and a novel idea around the 3-3 cub formation. Now, this formation allows you to get a lot of really insane one-on-ones in the interior gap. So, for example, here you see these 3 defensive ends or 3 defensive linemen, whatever you want to call them. You really have 5 players in general here. You can call them DTs. These players get a lot of one-on-ones with the interior defensive line. And this is something that you can really take advantage of if you have the right players and the right abilities. You can get some insta sheds playing some great coverage. So let's just get right into it here. You're going to actually see we are subbing in and out. This is really important for running the 3-3 cub formation, ensuring you get the best sheds, contains, coverage. We are subbing in coverage players at these spots here. So at this spot and this spot, this is where we're going to be putting coverage players because they're always going to be in a contain or in coverage. So pass rush stats really do not matter. And then for the interior D-line, we put our best rushers. We're going to put Benito here. You're going to see we're going to put the Zach Allen. He's going to play DT. He has the El Toro and the, what's it called, ability, interior threat ability. And I believe we put Cooper on the other defensive end spot. So we do all of this. We sub in and out our sub linebacker. We sub in our slot corner. We actually do pause the game as well to get extra time. That's a little tip. If you pause the game, you can reset this little timer here. So that's always really nice at the beginning of a game if you want to make sure you can get your defense set up. But even then, sometimes it can be difficult if you have to make all those substitutions like you do in regs because the depth chart doesn't save. You can see I actually did forget to do something here. Like you can actually notice my safeties are backed off, right? So if I pause here, you're actually going to see safeties backed off, right? So I don't have safety depth on close and safety width on pinch. So obviously we're going to switch that. First play of the game, we are in the cover 4 quarters match shell that we really like versus the doubles formation. This is the same shell where we man up this safety, so the tight end side safety to the tight end, outside third this corner, and then just run a base cover 4 quarters to the left with the support of a hard flat just in case the tight end goes on the drag. Now, one of the really common themes you'll see throughout this game, outside of just the interior D-line going absolutely crazy, is that we're going to be doing a lot of D-pad switching. Now, if you're not familiar with what D-pad switching is, I'm going to be going from this player, so I'm not actually using the hard flat, to this player. Now, I'm going to do this when I'm blitzing. I'm going to do this when I'm playing coverage a lot. I am going to end up playing usually on the short side flat because it's really easy for you to cover a lot of ground and many routes in a very short distance of field. So it's just a good user spot in general. But to do this, to instantly switch to him, I should say, we press down on the D-pad. Now, obviously, I can press down on the D-pad. But if I want to get instant control, I have to sit in claw. So I have to move my left stick around and then press down on the D-pad to make sure my thumb is still on the left stick. So I actually got this suggestion from Vose. He actually maps it to the paddle. So I just have one paddle for down on the D-pad because that's the most common type of D-pad switch you're going to do. So what I do here is just on snap, I press down on this D-pad and then I still have my thumb on the left stick. So it's the same concept as, or same idea as maybe drop shotting or jump shotting in Call of Duty, because you, of course, don't want to take your thumb off the right stick in COD. So in this case, you don't want to take your thumb off the left stick. You really want instant control. So let's actually just get back into it here. You're going to probably see I'm going to switch to this quarter flat. Right there, I mess up completely. I end up on the safety. It's probably going to have a gain, but you're going to see this cover 4 quarters match shell. We talk about it a lot on the channel. Really the one for bunch mostly, but the one for doubles, I believe we covered in the last video. This slot corner completely caged the slant. And then the safety in the outside corner on the left are caging this post because most people are going to run PA snag. It's the most common play you're going to deal with. And then you can see this drag route that came from over here is getting played by the hard flat that we switched off of. So you can see pretty much everything is bagged. It's super effective, and he has to throw the ball away on the first play. And we also got some pretty good sheds on the first play, and that really is the benefit of Nickel 3-3 Cub. especially when you're sending 3. I think sending 3 is a really underrated thing you can do in the 3-3 cub formation because you get a one-on-one against base protection with your defensive tackle. And that's something you obviously would never want if you're playing the Denver Broncos. Before we jump back into the game, let me tell you about the resource top players are using to stay way ahead of the curve in Madden 26. That resource is victoryformation.gg, currently home to 13 complete game plans and 100 plus elite tips. Not to mention that our members are consistently dominating online, crushing their league competition, and some members are winning hundreds of dollars in tournaments. So not only do you get access to everything I use, but also schemes and tips from other pros and content creators. So if you're ready to join the winning team and get access to everything, you can get your first month for only $11.95 using code SWOLO. So right here, I'm probably just gonna play a send 3 man coverage shade outside, right? So take a look when we show the coverage shell. We're actually blitzing. So actually we blitz? No, we're not. We're sending 4. So he's going to use the bunch tight end weak in the Jags playbook. So this is something that David T kind of popularized, motioning out this running back to the outside spot of the field. Now, the majority of the time when someone does this, they're running one of 2 combos. They are running a slant and then a running back table, or a lot of other people. And then on the other side of the field, it's often a reverse slot fade, a streak, and a corner, right? Or they are just kind of flooding this left side of the field. So it's a corner, a streak, a slot fade, and then that running back table that they motioned out. So as long as you're kind of set for those 2 combos, you're pretty much set to stop the bunch tight end weak motion out. And that's something that will help you a lot because people are using this online. Right here, I'm moving out the curl flat, not necessarily to go cover the running back table, but at least to show that he can only throw it for a couple yards, maybe dissuade him from throwing it. So you can see right here, he actually does end up running one of the 2 combos. At least he's using this long whip route. The curl flat pulls in, his running back's wide open. You can see he's got the tight end corner. Instead of a reverse slot fade in a streak, he's using a drag and a post. But really, the general combo is the same. You know, they're flooding this right side of the field while having a backside zig route or a backside whip and this table route, okay? So you're going to see right here, he throws the drag, gets a couple yards. Now, we're still getting some good pressure only sending 4 here, and that really is the focus, and you're going to notice it earlier in the game, especially because his blocker resistance hasn't built up. Now, if you're unfamiliar, if I said blocker resistance, you're like, what is that? So if you click onto some of your defensive linemen, you'll see little bars beneath the offensive line, right? This is how much resistance these offensive linemen have built up to the defensive linemen that they have been going against pretty much the entire game. So in essence, later in the game, you kind of want to move these players around. I don't here, but later in the game, they can block better. So you're going to see OG is not going to get shedded as much. Now, I talked about OG a bit in the intro, but he's running a lot of the pass heavy meta right now, really ironing out his pass game because he's a top of the line runner. And to be fair, a top of the line cheeser and a close friend of mine. So that's enough about OG here. We're going to see we are running, I believe this is the first time we're running the man coverage with 2 flats. Okay. So actually, I think we're blitzing. Let me take a look if it actually shows the coverage shell here. After he gets that completion, it's a quick 3rd and 1, and he's trying to quick kick us. So he actually audibles to the Y off trio close. And when he audibles to this Y off trio close, he actually audibles to a play with the running back stock motioned out. So it's essentially a 5 wide receiver set or a 5 wide, really a 5 compressed is the best way to put it. And we're going to be sending a cover 0 blitz. Now, the way to blitz in 3-3 Cub is very user dependent, and it goes back to the D-pad switch that we're going to be using a lot in this game. And you're going to notice that with Skinner here, I'm going to be blitzing him, but the blitz angle is going here, right? So I've crashed to the left, but the blitz angle is going here. But I'm user locking by pressing left on the D-pad and right bumper and looping in to this gap. Even though my blitz angle is here, I'm looping in opposite my blitz angle. This creates an overload on the left, so this player is in a flat. This will create an overload and allow usually our user to come in clean. So what you're going to see here, once OG eventually does snap the ball, we're going to be able to loop into this gap. He's making a bajillion hot routes. You can see there goes our user straight at his quarterback, and it comes in so fast that the majority of the time they can't even react to it. So he tried to throw the ball there, but because our user was the one that came through the A gap, he really had no time to actually throw it. So that's one of the main benefits of 3-3 Cub. You can blitz to both sides, you can play some great coverage, and you get some great shed D. So on this late down, we're going back to one of our staples, which is the double mug. Now, the nice thing about double mug is you can send two. And on these late downs, I either send he or I send two people. Now, the coverage shell that I'm going to be putting on the field is pretty basic. I'm going to put an inside third on him, right? Curl flat, QB spy, hook, curl flat. And then I'm shading outside. So this will prevent them from using the pass lead streak mechanic that has torched man all year, as in, let's say this player gets, rather, let's just focus on this player here. Let's say he gets outside leverage on this corner, he just pass leads outside, instant touchdown. But since we're shaded outside, right, you're going to see they have to pass lead inside, but we actually have an inside third here, so they can't pass lead inside. And then we're sending two, which is another huge benefit. And what this allows us to do is get a one-on-one with this edge on his tackle. So it forces his quarterback to move to the left where we have our spy. And then our spy gets sent and he just ends up running out of time. And that is something you're just going to see a lot when, you know, you're running the double A gap send to style of defense. So you're going to see he's actually running his bunch to the right here. Same concept. You can see we're exactly doing the same thing that we said. We got the curl flat on the weak side of the field. So the short side of the field in this case. Hook, curl, QB spy, curl flat, inside third, right? He can't pass lead inside because he'll throw out the inside third, and he can't pass lead outside because we shaded our defense to the outside. Now, to shade outside is just triangle and right on the right stick. It's really, really simple to set up. It's like one adjustment, and then we add the extra adjustments here to really help our man coverage across the board. It's almost like a cover one. It's essentially a cover one is the best way to describe it, but we are sending two out of this cover one. He motions out again. We're gonna have to make one additional adjustment, so we actually have to man him up, and then this player turns into the inside third because we don't want to just leave this player unmanned. We spread, and you're gonna notice he sees man coverage. He sees the leverage that he has to the inside, but you have to keep that inside third. And what you're gonna notice is because I have that inside third, we're able to swat it away, right? So that's a really nice benefit of running that defense, knowing they can't use the basic, the really, really basic style of offense they like against man. So we do end up punching it in, and what you're gonna see here is something really nice, and it's our cover 4 quarters match shell that we've talked a lot about on the channel, and we can use it in the nickel 3-3 cub. I think match is essential to have in whatever defense you're using because it does such a great job against the meta combos that people are using. Now, we used before, earlier in this game, the match shell against doubles. This is actually it against Bunch X Nasty. And the way to set it up, it's actually pretty simple. We man up this safety to the point man. We man up our linebacker to the tight end. Now, you can play around with shading outside, shading inside, route committing players, but in essence, it's basically all we're doing here. And you're going to see it is a really, really effective style of offense to play. But you're going to see, or defense to play, my apologies. He actually audibles to trips tight end, and we just end up in a very, very basic, if I were to take a strong guess here, because I don't see it, knowing myself, it's inside third, possible flat or hook, inside third, deep half, flat, right? And OG loves the play drive post. It's probably his staple play right now. It's post, drag, streak, wheel, or sometimes flat. It's almost guaranteed the play here if I were to take a strong guess, and you're going to see, there it is, drive post. He's got the wheel, but we've kind of prepared for this at this point, right? Not necessarily preparing specifically for OG 2K, but we've prepared for the drive post that lots of people are using pretty much because of OG. So we have those hooks shaded down. So we have our user knowing how to cover this. We know we could switch down and play this post. The wheel is covered. The only thing that looks a little bit open, even though we do, I think, have a hook or a flat here, is this backside drag. So knowing OG, he probably doesn't miss that read. He actually does see us pull to it, so he sticks to the initial drag, and he gets himself to a second and inches. So drive post, a really annoying play to stop. You have to pretty much overcommit into a cover 2 style of look with all your hook zones really low.
If you like competitive Madden and want to make real money predicting matches, then look no further than 1v1me. Because not only can you watch live games, but you can stake on game outcome. With lots of options, including flash stakes, game spreads, and point totals, there's always action on the app. Some stakers are even making thousands of dollars on single slips, with top stakers making over $1 million simply using their knowledge of competitive gaming. Check it out at 1v1.me/Swolosimo or use code Swolosimo on sign up for a $25 no sweat stake. But you're gonna see on this second and inches, we go back to the match shell. He then audibles back to the trips tight end. So we end up making a couple coverage adjustments. you're going to see when people hurry up, and this is really annoying, the OLB flip package that we're using in the 3-3 Cub resets. So all of these players, including the 2 linebackers, are considered D linemen. So instead of pressing right on the D-pad for your linebackers being these players and these players, you actually have to press left on the D-pad, and it makes you reset your entire kind of thought process. So if they hurry up, you have to consider, okay, my outside linebackers are not considered linebackers anymore. They're considered defensive linemen. So it can, make it a little bit more difficult to adjust on those key downs when they're quick snapping you. So right here, it doesn't look necessarily like drive post, but it's a similar concept. We're going to have a post, we're going to have a drag, we're going to have a wheel, we're going to have a streak. So same concept. OG is not afraid. He's unafraid to run this play consistently if you cannot show that you can stop it consistently. So you're going to see here, he runs basically it again, but Zach Allen, there he is. There's really the first instance where you're going to see Zach Allen begin to really activate in this game and become such a difference maker. And that's what you're going to notice. So Zach Allen has the El Toro and interior threat ability, and you're going to see he instantly sheds that center, who I believe is a 70 overall. So it's a huge disadvantage for OG picking the Seahawks here, and he can't get away with Sam Darnold. So boom, Zach Allen, gigantic difference maker immediately in the game, on top of putting pressure on OG earlier. And you're going to see it's going to be Zach Allen pretty consistently throughout this game, being the person that can get OG in these long down situations. So we're back in cover 4 quarters, staple coverage. Once again, we do the double man up. We actually add a vert hook here. We're sending 3 people. Now, why are we sending 3, but we're also kind of getting better sheds sending 1 less person? The reason this is because most people are in base pro, right? And base pro performs a certain way against nickel 3-3 Cub, and that is when you send 3, this player gets double teamed and this player gets double teamed, but then the defensive tackle is often one-on-one with the center. And although sending 4 might seem like the best thing ever, you're getting an extra player blitzing, you're containing maybe. The problem is this player gets double teamed. And when you have a player like Zach Allen, you want him in a single team so he can instantly shed. He's like prime Aaron Donald in this game is the best way to put it. You're going to notice I'm just sending 3. I add the vert hook just in case OG decides to put a curl on the field. But in this case, I don't believe he does. And we're going to get that one-on-one. Zach Allen, he already shedded. I just wanted to show a couple of the route concepts, and you can see he's already insta-shedded this center. So you can really see that OG has no chance. Zach Allen is just there. He's just there instantly. I only sent 3 people, but he instantly shedded. And you're going to see because OG doesn't have a quarterback mobile enough to really get away, it becomes such a difference maker. So on this late down, he gets in doubles. Chances are we're going to run our match shell that we like versus doubles. So a lot of match. Outside third, he's going to take him. This player is going to take the tight end. We're probably going to curl flat or hook this player to support the tight end if he crosses the field. Okay. Yep. We're on this. Now we D-pad there. Important to mention. Press down on the D-pad to get on, down on the D-pad, map to the paddle, I should say, if you didn't get the spiel initially, to get on this quarter flat, right? And you're going to see that's going to make a pretty substantial difference. We're able to play the wheel, and then he just throws it kind of into triple coverage here. You can see this player is here. We have a hook here. We have everything we need to cover it, and no one knocks it out. Although you guys can't really see it because, VLC sometimes isn't the best. One of the most annoying plays I've seen. Everything was completely bagged. He threw it into coverage, and he ends up catching it, right? So that's unfortunate. We definitely still got to work to get OG off the field here. But nonetheless, we felt like we played good coverage all around, and we're feeling confident that we can do it again. So 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. We're going back to the match shell that we've been running. Once again, this match shell is top of the line. You have the cover 4 quarters, really taking away this double side of the field, the man up in the outside third, taking away the short side of the field, the running back side of the field, and then your user is there to support pretty much across the board. Now, we're usually going to use her on this quarter flat because he can get into coverage and take away the running back. But then after, we're going to pretty much switch stick around. So you're going to see we end up putting the hard flat on the wrong side of the field. So hopefully he has no drag. He does not. He instantly throws his running back, and we do end up making a tackle. So again, he's starting to move down the field. We aren't really getting into the right positions. We're not getting all of our adjustments off. He's just kind of moving much quicker than he was earlier, realizing, okay, if I get all my adjustments off, it's going to be difficult for him to move. So he's just going to try to quick snap us here. So you're going to see we set up the same coverage shell. The hard flat's going to support if there's a drag on the field. Right here, he runs pretty much the exact same play he just ran. The difference is we got on this quarter flat, right? So we're able to play this running back. We know these players are going to get matched. This player is going to get matched. This player is going to get matched. So we should be safe. He instantly throws the drag. The quarter flat matches onto the drag and knocks the ball out. Really, match is just so effective. Even if you don't understand the rules of match, which even I don't have a full grasp of, and if you understand them in real football, it may not transfer over to Madden perfectly. But if you go through the meta route combos and you have a basic understanding of, okay, who's the number one and who's responsible if the number one goes here, 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 you will be able to run match at a high clip, right? And I think it's one of the only defenses where having a football knowledge can help you run a coverage shell and know exactly what it takes away, right? And I don't mean that you can't do that in general. I mean that it's the best example of football knowledge translating to high-level competitive Madden. So back to it. We are going to be running basically man coverage here. If I were to take a guess, we're going to inside third. So you're going to see inside third, flat, flat, hook curl, shade outside. The benefit being it will make sure that they have to throw to the interior of the field where you have a hook curl and you're able to D-pad to this player and match anything across the field. It's rare that this player and this player attack the right side of the screen, so it's really easy for you to crunch the routes on the short side of the field. So right here, you can see man coverage. Zach Allen probably going to get a one-on-one because we are sending 3. That's the benefit of using the Broncos. He actually doesn't instantly win here, but you can see OG has stepped away from him, seeing like, okay, if he does shed, I need some space. And he runs a Texas. So let's set up here. He runs a Texas, streak, return, streak, and post. And it looks like this post is breaking open. I kind of have to, with my user, bait both the Texas and the post. But because of the position I'm in, I can kind of do that, right? So he steps all the way to the right. Unfortunately, since he does get this time in the pocket, this post is so wide open down the field. I would be extremely surprised if he does not chuck it for a huge gain. He does, and he gets himself to the 19-yard line. So on 1st and 10, he audibles to the bunch tight end formation. So this is not bunch tight end weak, and if you do see bunch tight end weak early in the game, it means 99% of the time they're in Jaguars. Now, Jaguars, I do not believe has the RPO. They have off tackle, but they do not have the RPO, which allows you to run a bunch of different defenses with this knowledge in mind. And it makes a pretty big difference knowing you don't have to guard the best RPO in the game, being the bunch tight end RPO. So he's running the auto motion play. Chances are it's going to be a running back streak, the auto motion wheel, and then maybe a post or a drag on the tight end, with this side of the field just being there to support, right? Now it looks like we're just in a cover 3 on the left and a cover 2 on the right. And this will allow us to take away pretty much everything. We are on that running back streak. It actually ends up looking like it might be a Texas. The wheel is taken away. The drag is taken away. The corner is taken away. The streak is taken away. So really the only thing here is cover the running back. And he throws it pretty much into coverage, right? This is a really tight window throw. This player could jump it. This player could jump it. And unfortunately, it literally hits my hands and we drop the interception. So this drive continues despite, it probably should have ended there, right? Now we continue here. We are in, once again, the Mike Blitz 0. We are going to double flat, and we're going to be putting an inside third on the field, right? So this player, we're going to switch to a hook in a moment. We are shaded outside, so we can't really be instantly streaked. The one difference here that's very important to bunch tight end weak is the running back is, of course, on the bunch side of the field. So you have to respect him on a streak, and you also have to respect the RPO. So bunch tight end weak in Jaguars is much more dangerous than the bunch tight end formation, right? So he motions out here. We're actually just going to stay in this man coverage. We're not going to over adjust too much. We're like, okay, this player is probably a crosser. He has this post here, but we are in pretty tight coverage with the post. So we continue the play. He does throw it. It's a really tight window throw. This should be a knockout, and we do end up knocking the ball out. Now, a small thing that I want you guys to be aware of that I do that I just don't see many people do is if I'm close enough to a receiver, instead of pressing the X button or the square button to knock out the ball, I'm very old school. I actually press R1. Now, I think that actually triggers a different set of animations and allows us to really punch the ball out. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm able to knock out the ball.
at as high of a clip as I do. So back in 3-3 Cub, we're going to run 3-3 Cub throughout this game. You can see Zach Allen's gotten us great sheds. We've been able to blitz. We've been able to play elite coverage. And on 3rd and 10, this is the ideal situation we want to be in, where we have the ability to blitz, play coverage, send 3, send 4, contain, do really whatever we want. And we call it timeout. Actually, he calls it timeout here. Really thinking about it. And actually, no, it was us. We called it timeout because we ended up backing off the slot corner, just not getting everything that we wanted to off. Now, the nice thing is after we call this timeout, he comes out with bunch X nasty to the wide side. Okay, so that is the wide side of the field, which means he's probably not going to audible, because in pretty much every other formation in Jaguars, you want the tight end to the short side of the field. So for bunch tight end weak, for bunch tight end, for trips tight end, really a lot of those other formations, you want the tight end on the short side of the field, because the strong side of the field will carry your bunch formation. So I'm thinking he's probably not going to audible. Now, he could go to doubles, but that's pretty easy to adjust to, in my opinion. And we're going to blitz here, it looks like. So we are overloading the left. Here's what the adjustments look like. We're going to crash to the left, right? So our blitz angle is going to go here, but we're actually going to loop here. And this is going to overload. We're going to get a free rusher. We have a cloud flat to support this side of the field. And we're going to deep hat to this vert hook and cover whatever the tight end is on, right? So you're going to see, we're going to re-blitz this player. You can see now his blitz angle is going here, where you're going to run in like so, hoping that he doesn't set up blitz protection, which likely he will not. And we're just going to deep hat to this vert hook. So right here, we overload. It doesn't even look like the blitz came in because we ended up pinching early in the play by accident. Now he's running a corner and a flat on this side of the field. And then if I were to take a guess, this is going to be a post and a streak and a post, and we're just going to be responsible for this drag on the tight end. We are all over this drag. He also has, I think this was a running back post that we switched to. Now, he is throwing the ball here. It could be to anyone, but he instantly throws a curl route. Now, since he throws the curl route early, with curl routes in general, you can't really throw it on break because this player will react and be able to knock the ball out instantly. So early in the year, curls used to always hold on to it, but if you throw it too early now, you do get hit and you do drop the ball, and you could see he just drops the ball right there. And it was Talanoa Hufanga. I butchered that so bad, but he has high tackling, which can sometimes contribute to knockouts, right? It is not really a tinfoil hat theory. It's just the truth of the matter. Tackle does help with knockouts. What you're going to see here is we are in the cover 4 quarters match shell that OG has not been able to really beat at a high clip again and again. We add a curl flat or a hook curl to the side of the field to support if the tight end goes on a post or a crosser. And if he pretty much crosses the field in general, knowing the rest of the field is going to be matched, we deep pad switch to this player, kind of making sure that he can't throw his running back. These players are going to get matched. And what you're going to see here is this should pretty much be a bag. Problem being, I accidentally switch on a Pat Surtain. Take a look here. The guy manned up to the tight end. I wanted to D-pad to him, right? So I D-padded to him. Great. Everything's good. But the problem is, when I wanted to switch back, I wanted this player. It put me on the guy manned up to the tight end, making a pretty much a bag, a wide open touchdown for OG, making it a 14-7 game. We do end up returning with another touchdown of our own. I was actually debating to make this an offensive video, but the defense is brand new, and I think it actually excelled the most in this game. So we return, once again, with a touchdown of our own, and we are back in match base defense, right? And he's audibling to doubles, he's audibling to bunch. He's doing really everything he can to make it so we don't necessarily get all of our adjustments off. What you're going to notice here is we're once again going to D-pad to this quarter flat because we're responsible for the running back, and we're going to do a pretty good job. The problem here is this post actually fried the outside third. Now, we can't necessarily be upset about that because this is an 89 speed safety and this is a 95 speed receiver that is also a higher overall with, pretty much every advantage. So we have to recover in some way. So you're likely going to see us switch to one of these players to go and cover that post, but that's going to leave the running back open. The nice thing about 3-3 Cub, however, is that these players are in contains, so they will disengage if he steps up or goes out, but this player gets the one-on-one. I'm not sure if this is Benito. Yeah, I think this is Cooper. He gets the one-on-one and puts pressure on OG, so we actually do get the leeway to switch to one of these players and go play it. Granted, we ended up on Hufanga. Both are open.
he's going to wind up and try to throw the streak, but end up taking a hit with his quarterback. So 2nd and 10, we are close. We just got to get him off the field again, and that'll pretty much seal the game. Once again, we're actually going to be running cover 3 buzz here if I were to take a guess. Yeah, cover 3 buzz is a pretty good defense on 2nd and 10. The reason being is the curl flats go out and up far enough, but they come down quite quickly. So if he does throw a flat, they're going to play it. And it allows us to have 2 hook curls on the field if they do try to throw it over the middle of the field. And you see, we're able to switch to this hook curl and play this post. This curl flat's playing up here. He's likely going to throw his drag. But once again, who do you see? Zach Allen. Because he's getting this one-on-one here with, and every time he gets a one-on-one, he is going to win that interaction. So what you're going to notice is, although we kind of get caught off guard, we get this one-on-one, and he even switches to Milrow here to try to move away from the pressure the best he can. Darnold is probably worn and torn as well because he's been taking these hits, but you're going to see insta-shed. He has to roll away from his wide open player, and he goes to throw it right here. Unfortunately, it did work in his favor, but, you know, he did have a wide open player. Our contain didn't necessarily hold his leverage. That's the one downside about 3-3 Cub, in my opinion, is to the right of screen against, I guess, if the strong side is to the left and your contain is on the right, right? So these are the 4 rushers, 1, 2, 3, 4. If the contain is here, he can sometimes lose leverage if he's double teamed. So although you can get these single teams and shed in the middle, this player often will lose his leverage. So that's why someone like Jalen Milrow can roll out on 3-3 Cub to the right in certain sets and in certain situations. So we're kind of switching it up here. We're going to play probably a bit more send 3 coverage to make sure that even if he rolls out, we have the support of the flats that we can send. And on top of that, we really want to guarantee these one-on-ones for Zach Allen. Right here, Zach Allen actually gets double teamed, and he's going to start rolling out instantly. So once again, here comes Milrow with a rollout. So he's rolling out. We actually do disengage, and he's not able to get a ton of yards. So sometimes, and I mean just sometimes, sending 3 can be better rush and better contain leverage in 3-3 Cub if you have the personnel for it. Because you could see, even in send 4, my contain just loses leverage. And when a contain loses leverage, you're basically screwed. But when a blitzer loses leverage, they can still recover, right? The contain kind of gets stuck, but blitzers actually recover better. So if anyone's going to lose, you'd rather be a blitzer than a contain. And it also just gives you better shed potential. So right here, we're in match again. Once again, the match has been good for us. It's just been kind of mistakes on our switch stick that have been able to, or rather allowed OG to move down the field on it. So we're going to D-pad to this player here, right? You're going to see we D-pad here, and we're all over everything. He ends up throwing a comeback directly into coverage, but because it was a high ball, I think he overthrew it. It's also Jalen Milrow, who just doesn't have the accuracy stats to hit everything. So as we go, we continue here. We are in 3rd and 10 at the 49-yard line. Right here, in my opinion, this is just how I think defense should be played. And this is something I talked to my buddy Goose Guy a lot about. 3rd and 4th down. The way that you should be playing them is, if you're going to play 3rd down, you can play to make it a 4th and short. That's one way to play it, and I think that's how most people play it. Or the better way to play it, in my opinion, is the same way as 4th down, which is you want to call a play that could bag everything, whether that be cover 0, so C0, send 2, or cover 4 quarters, which has the chance to bag every combo. Things like that, right? Or just blitzing, right? I think blitzing is really underrated when you think about, I don't know why that T is supposed to looks like an I, but you could blitz, right? And if you blitz, you can pretty much force an incompletion or a sack and make it a 4th and really long, or just make it, you know, a 4th and base long if they throw it away. The benefit of that is that if you can make it a 4th and long, you are in a significantly better position than you are, of course, if it's a 4th and short. Don't get me wrong, it can be more difficult, but I think that's the best way to play defense, because it's a lot easier to say, okay, on 4th and long, you play like you would on 3rd and long, where you're like, okay, try to make it a 5th and short. And I say that because obviously that'd be a turnover on downs. So you're allowed to play a lot more conservative on 4th down if it's a 4th and long. So you can afford to be more aggressive on 3rd down. So that's why 3rd down really is that key down. If you can get a win, you're in a great spot, right? So that's a huge spiel about, you know, general game planning and how I kind of look at the game defensively. So right here, we're just in a cover 3. Really basic. So cover 3 on the left, outside third, inside third, quarter flat, hard flat. It's a mini Mabel in a way. And then I believe we're going to cover 2 or just a cover. Actually, we're going to cover 4 on the right. So really basic, really conservative defense. He has 2 people attacking the middle of the field. So I kind of have to make the decision between this drag and the Texas. This really is an old school combo. We also see that this curl flat will only play so deep. He will eventually retreat. Chances are he's waiting on that. And yeah, that's exactly what he threw. And somehow he also got the best animation possible, right? So he was really patient and he threw it over our curl flat. Right there, we likely could have afforded to put the curl flat deeper because we did have a hard flat on that play. But it's one of those things where if someone's quick hiking and audibling around, those are the adjustments you really just can't get off. So that's the benefit of playing like how OG is here. So right here, we are in cover 0. It looks like we were gunning for a blitz, but the 2-minute warning hit. So we're going to go back to the blitz here. We're like, yeah, blitz sounded great. So it looks like that's what we're doing again. I lied. We're not blitzing. We're actually sending 3. So I just saw the blitz angle here. So we're sending 3, 2 flats, inside third. We're shaded outside, so they can't hit us with a pass lead streak. And then anything that really breaks open early, like a drag or a flat, will be covered by our hard flats. And we're going to try to guarantee that one-on-one with Zach Allen. So once he snaps the ball, Zach Allen, like again, he gets that one-on-one, insta sheds. He puts this dude, I think, in the dirt. He won so much that he got blocked. Think about that. He won by so much that the guy was able to recover and block. Okay, so I think that was pretty insane. Chucks it into coverage, we intercept it, right? I feel like on every key down, the media player just ends up lagging a little bit. But what you're going to see here is because we're shaded outside, when he goes to pass lead this inside, he has to be a little bit less aggressive because we have that inside third. And because of that, we get the interception. Now, unfortunately, we do not capitalize on that turnover, and OG gets back on offense. So we're back in our match shell here. We got that 1-1 with Zach Allen. He doesn't initially shed. Our contain does shed, but he gets the ball off. And with the Seahawks, the only downside of the Seahawks, and I mean only, is Sam Darnold. So if he can get the ball off to one of these receivers in space, pretty much all of them can speed boost. And OG, as you probably are all aware, has one of the best speed boosts in the game. So that's something to keep an eye on. So we're looking out for the RPO here. That's why we have a flat. We're just in base man coverage. He does run the whip route. The whip route fries, but once again, the sheds get to him. This is something that we weren't necessarily used to in our double mug because we played weaker players in the interior position. But what you're going to notice in this defense is we're shedding right up the middle, and he can't really go anywhere with Sam Darnold. So Zach Allen loses, and then wins. He tries to step away from Zach, and then he ends up running into one of the edge rushers, right? So you could see this pressure really is getting to OG here. Now, right here, we are going to send 0. Now, you're like, why are we sending 0, Swole? Are you some sort of idiot? Now, on this play, I might have been a bit of an idiot because I have 2 spies on. That sounds insane. I have 2 spies on. That's the stupid part. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I should have had, manned up one of these players, maybe with my user and user one of the D linemen. Now, the reason we sent 0 here is because we wanted him to hold the ball for pretty much the length of the play, making the 2nd and goal the last play. So if we can cover everything for half a second, the idea is that we would be fine for the rest of the drive. We can take away 3rd and 4th by elongating how long he has the ball on 2nd down. So the thought, I believe, was actually there. It was just poorly executed, and he throws a high ball directly over one of our clouds, and we actually could have picked that. We should have picked that. So we didn't look like an idiot here. We definitely should have picked that ball. He really had no choice but to throw the ball, but if he threw it away, he would have gotten intentional grounding, and he would have got a really insane runoff, okay? So once again, you're going to notice we are sending 0 people, right? We only have 1 spy this time. We're actually sending 1, I believe. Now, you would think, okay, the whole field should be covered at this point. We should be good. You have someone manned up. You've done exactly what you're supposed to do. I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't get the privilege of a 4th and goal because I know he has timeouts. So we just want to make him throw it instantly or use up all the time. So he's taking a really, really long time. The problem is I'm not shaded down. And because I'm not shaded down, the hooks are going to play pretty deep. So what you're going to notice here is this little hitch is wide open and no hook zone curl is going to play it. So he's actually just going to wait,
playmaker the hitch and get himself a touchdown. So super unfortunate, really kind of mismanagement on defense for me not noticing that because it was wide open. But nonetheless, OG does score, but we're still playing pretty good defense. Now, after a little bit, OG starts to actually understand how the defense works, and he starts to play better himself. But the reason that we are still going to be able to play good defense, or at least get him to some long downs and elongate these drives, is once again, this is where you'll see the sheds come in and having the right personnel on the field to run 3-3 Cub at a high level. So don't get me wrong, we are going to give up some points here. OG, we were never going to hold him and stop him every single drive. He's just too good of a player for that. But you're going to see really the effectiveness of how 3-3 Cub can save us on a lot of these key downs. So right here, we're in the cover 4 quarters. We're actually manning up our user to the running back. The only thing we got to worry about here is the tight end. But the thing is, we add this hard flat. So when you do send 3 in this cover 4 quarters instead of sending 4, you have the added benefit of kind of freeing up your user, and you can leave this quarter flat on the field. Or you can user this quarter flat and know that the running back is taken away, which is a benefit in itself. And that's what we do here. Everything really well covered. Problem is, the one time, don't get me wrong, the sheds got there though. The one time we do man him up, he's on a Texas route and he gets wide open. And I believe Kenneth Walker has backfield mismatch or short in a lead. So he completely fries our man coverage. Now, 1st and 10, he goes into the bunch tight end weak. Now, one bug that I've noticed in the game is when someone audibles to a bunch tight end weak or flips their play, sometimes my nickel corner gets stuck, right? But I learned now, and this is a relatively new development, is that he will eventually go over there. But when he gets stuck, it takes about a second for him to do so. So what I tried is flipping and then flipping again and then flipping again, really messing up my adjustments a ton. Don't do that. Just wait. He will eventually get there. It's a really annoying bug in the game, but it is something that, you know, you just have to be aware of. So we are just putting up whatever base coverage we can get off. We are trying to blitz as well. It's just not the best. Something's going to be wide open. Once again, we just didn't get our coverage off because we assumed that our slot corner wasn't going to flip with us. And sometimes he takes so long, it's like he's not even on the field, right? I'm not sure exactly what triggers that. If you know, let me know down below. I'd love to know to avoid that, but definitely an annoying bug in the game. So 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line, you're actually going to notice OG is back in the bunch X nasty, so we're back in running match. So he's kind of gotten a beat on this. So after running match for a while, you do have to consider pivoting out of it. Now, in my case, I didn't actually pivot out of it. I definitely should have, but you have to consider doing it because once someone understands how to beat your match shell, you have really 3 options. You just hope that he doesn't run the play that beats it. That is something that I've done before and it's not good. Don't do that. The other option is you make adjustments out of your match shell. This, in my opinion, is the best, where instead of manning up the tight end, let's say he's beating you here, you leave a hook curl and you're just more responsible for the tight end with this quarter flat. Or you create like a cover 2, cover 3 hybrid match where in essence you run cover 2 to this side with a soft squat, cover 3 to this side with a hard flat, but the only real difference here is the quarter flat and the soft squat will play like match, and you get the added benefit of keeping the hook curl here while being in a pseudo zone coverage, and this will take away a lot of the normal match beaters, right? I don't run it too much this game, but you can definitely watch a few of the previous videos, especially the ones against Gabagol, where I have to do that because he kept using the running back reverse wheel. But in this play, OG goes back to one of his staple plays where he has the Texas, the post, the streak, and he's winding up, I believe, to throw the running back. He's actually just throwing the drag. My apologies. OG does not miss a drag, really. He will throw these drags in these windows, and he does get himself, 7 yards here. So on 2nd and 3, you're actually going to notice I believe, are going to try to blitz, right? So this is something where if someone's really taking their time in the pocket, you notice you're not necessarily getting the sheds you want, especially on a key down like 2nd and 3. Like if he converts here, it's not the biggest deal. It's 2nd and 3. But if it was, if we could get a sack and make it 3rd and 10, that's perfect. Because if let's say it's just an incompletion, 2nd and 3 to 3rd and 3, doesn't really move the needle much for me. So I'm going to blitz here. And that's just something that I like doing on 2nd and short. You really have the option of kind of playing base coverage and hoping that, you get a good rush and they throw the ball away, or blitzing, right? A lot of the time I will consider blitzing. And you could see the blitz did work. He did have to fully roll out to the right. We didn't get the blitz to come in completely clean, but he had to roll out. He's going to try to throw it backside, and he does. So Sam Darnold usually can't make that type of throw, but in that case, he did. That's the problem with man coverage against the Seahawks. Sometimes they just fry, right? And there's not much you can do about it. You can see he had that in route on. He got a lot of time in the pocket. He was able to roll.
Now, I want you to notice one mistake I made. That mistake was not having a contain, or this contain getting double teamed. This is what I mean about contains, right? So I'm pretty sure this was a contain here. And what you're going to notice is when the contain gets double teamed like this to the right of screen, it can really suck, right? Because he just doesn't recover in time. You're going to see he's going to try, but he never ends up recovering. So that's the downside sometimes of blitzing on the left side of the field, really, because you're depending on that contain to keep the quarterback in the pocket, and he won't always. So we do end up returning with a touchdown of our own, still up 7 in this game, so in a pretty good spot, but we really need to get OG off the field. And what you're going to see here is Zach Allen just instant disengage there, right? I wouldn't even say that was a shed. I think OG was setting up a protection, or he just moved it the wrong way, and Zach Allen just instantly came free. I could have been in blitzing everybody, and he would have not been able to get the ball off. So right here, we're in cover 3 buzz. We are trying to cover literally everything. He high balls it to his tight end, and he doesn't get it. Or I believe if it wasn't a high ball, it likely was just an under pressure pass. You're going to see when you send 4 and 3-3 cub, if this player gets the one-on-one and he wins, in this case, this was the contain. So why do we contain, right? Especially with this outside linebacker, you would think, okay, I want shed potential, and containing doesn't really give me that. But if someone moves back, which they do against 3-3 cub because the interior sheds so much, right? The contains will disengage, and they will still, although I've been kind of knocking the contain on the right of screen when he gets double teamed, if they're ever single teamed, they will do a really good job at keeping the quarterback in the pocket and disengaging if the quarterback steps up or steps back, okay? So that's why the contains are so effective. So right there, it causes, I believe, an under pressure, right? And that's why I don't pick the Seahawks in this tier. I think Sam Darnold just misses too many throws. So right here, you're actually going to see OG does get a bit cheated. We are calling a cover, just kind of a cover 4, although we have 2 inside thirds, which is insane, with really deep curl flats. We're just trying to make sure that he's not able to throw anything over the middle or anything deep to the sideline. So we have this deep hook. We have this deep hook. The only problem is this curl flat is so far to the inside of the field, so this one here, that he doesn't get to this corner. And the corner is wide open. He just doesn't get his feet in. So that's super frustrating for OG. I have no doubt that I would be annoyed myself. So 4th and 18, it's going to be really hard for him to convert. Once again, we're in some basically cover 3. We have a deep hook. We don't want to give up a flat or a, instant post. So a lot of people in PA Snag will just put a post here. That's why we have this deep hook. And you can see everything gets well covered here. We end up swatting the ball down as well. He really had no chance that drive. I don't feel like I did anything insane. So obviously we were in the red zone. We definitely wanted to punch it in. It's, 35-21 at this point. You're going to notice that we are in just a basic cover 4 with a hook curl. So if he has a reverse slot fade, it'll be a touchdown, I'll be honest. But right here, we're just kind of in a, I might switch it. No, we keep the hook curl. He's running this wheel. He sees that, okay, this dude, 90 or 89 speed. That does not look like an 89 speed. And then his receiver's 95 speed. So he just like, okay, I'm down 14. He chucks it up. We definitely could pick this, but this is a scary pass to jump for. No doubt. It is a scary pass to jump for. So we go and swat it, but we definitely could have picked it in that situation since it was so close to the sideline. Now you're probably like, okay, why did you swat? Like, why would you pick about a swat and a pick there? Because if you can swat it, can't you pick it? And the answer is actually no. Your players jump much higher for swats than they do interceptions. So if you're ever like, oh, I don't think I can pick this, go for a swat. It's definitely the safer option. So right here, we're just in a cover 4 and a cover 2 here. We don't want to give up any big plays. You can see we have a curl flat and a cloud flat. Really bend, don't break defense here. He's going to chuck this. He's going to put the wheel on again, but we actually do have an outside third. He's going to go try to throw it. So we were kind of scared. So we end up switch sticking here, but we need to switch stick back to this player. The drag is open. He could throw this as well. So we got to see here, Texas wide open, but he starts rolling to the left. This makes this read a lot harder. There's a lot of space here, but once again, Sam Darnold just isn't fast, right? And I'm really surprised he got 5 yards there. And the majority of the time, that could be a fumble. That could be, a loss or a sack. So Sam Darnold somehow gets 5 yards for him, but you could see he does have things open, but he is trying to get as many yards as he possibly can. Now, we called a timeout there because our slot corner, once again, didn't flip, right? So right here, we're back to match. We are, I believe, sending 3. We're trying to get that one-on-one with Zach Allen, which we do. right? We send 3 people. This player is going to get double teamed. This player is going to get double teamed. And what you're going to see is we instantly switch to this quarter flat. We're in base match, so we don't need to worry about, the common combos, the stem down corners, the slot fades, the streaks, the drags, the returns, all that. And then we also have a shaded outside vert hook here, which will cover any curl route. So you're going to see we're doing our best, but the Texas route, if you don't play it with your user, is going to be wide open. And with Kenneth Walker, that can be really dangerous. So he's hurrying up here, obviously. He's trying to, use as little time as possible while getting into the end zone. So we blitz here. It was too delayed of a blitz. He pass leads it, over pass leads it to the left, right? So we have to keep that in mind. When we blitz, we are shading outside, but if they do get time in the pocket, it's very easy for them to pass lead inside. But I prefer shading outside because you can pass lead outside. A lot of pass leading in this sentence here. It's easier to pass lead outside early in the play. But if you want to pass lead inside, you do have to wait a second. So that's why when I blitz, I like to shade outside because it's much more difficult and it takes more time. And obviously you wouldn't get that time if I'm blitzing you. So right here, we're just in cover 3 buzz, base defense, base 2nd and 10, trying to make it, a 3rd and short. We are trying to cover the Texas, the drag. We've seen a lot of the things OG's been trying to do. We end up switching his R1 receiver because we're thinking he's definitely going to chuck it up. And he does end up chucking it up, I believe, to his running back Texas that he playmakered. This is just kind of a read that you make when you're down 14 points late in the 3rd quarter. If this was, tie game, I don't think he makes this read. But somehow, some way, he gets it. He gets it. And he one-hands it. So I was just surprised that my players just didn't get there, but what can you do? Sometimes that's just the way she goes. So right here, we're back, pretty much match coverage across the board. Problem being is I believe I shaded outside and didn't get everything off. I'm also not on this quarter flat. So if he's just patient, this post is going to be open. This flat's going to be open. This running back streak is going to be open. So all he has to do is just make the read. And in this case, he throws the flat, the safest of the reads, and he gets himself 6 yards. Right here, we actually do get everything off. We're on the quarter flat. We are matching everything we can. Now, this route's a little annoying because if I don't route commit or if I don't switch it, he can throw it pretty early in the play. We do match, and look who's there. Look who's there. The man, Zach Allen. Let's go back. Let's watch the shed animation that he's going to get here. Pretty much instant. Once again, he pretty much gets instant sheds so often, right? So you're going to notice on this 2nd and 4, he did end up converting somehow, but we are going to see that in a moment. What you're going to see is Zach Allen, if he gets this one-on-one, is going to insta-shed. And he does. Sam Darnold under pressure again. You're going to see he's going to chuck it. Somehow, the guy matched, but he just wasn't quick enough, right? Sometimes that just happens. It's frustrating, and he does get yards because of it, right? So pretty annoying. What can you do? 1st and goal from the 7. We're sending 3 out of a man-based defense, which we are, once again, shading outside, so they can't really throw anything to the outside. We're putting 2 hook curls to the inside to really make us safe in the middle, and hard flats to kind of play drags, flats, things like that. This is a really good defense for the red zone, in my opinion. I highly recommend it. But you're going to see, if you're not quick enough to pull inside with the player you're using, especially the hard flat, you could give up a touchdown right there. But you could see, as long as you're a little bit disciplined, especially on that short side hard flat, you're going to be able to take away a lot of their best combos. So right here, we are in double mug. We're in cover 2. We are manning up this player because this player is very likely to be a delay route. And then pretty much we're also sending 2. We're sending this player and this player. This player's in a low hook. This player's in a QB spy. So we are trying to overload the right, force Sam Darnold to his non-dominant hand side, and then send the spy. But you can see everything's kind of manned up here. He motions out his running back. Still feel really confident in the defense I have on the field. And what you're going to notice here is I'm on the mid read. I'm trying to cover everything, but the one weakness is that tight end. Because we had a soft squat on the outside receiver and we manned up the running back, we didn't necessarily have a flat to switch stick to or pull inside quick enough to cover that slant. So that's obviously quite frustrating. Now right here, we're going to be in the same defense though, right? Now we'll be like, oh, that's dumb. Well, the difference is I'm actually going to have a flat there this time to cover the tight end slant. You're going to see we switch stick. This is one of my favorite things to do. Just instantly switch stick to the most important hook curl and go cover the tight end. But the difference is if I pull down, I'd be giving up this. And the reason this is because I have a mid read on, but I must have shaded underneath. So he's only going to play to the end zone line. So if he's patient, he's actually going to be able to just highball Rashid here over the middle. But since we stayed with it, it ended up being a little bit better for us. The problem is, and this is the case every time,
when you're on the middle hash, or pretty much the short hash, it doesn't really matter. If you have a swing and a return route, the return will always be open. Always be open, right? And you can see wide open. I would have had to switch that. No hook zone curl, no vert hook, no anything would have covered that route. I would have had to man it up and shade underneath. Now, unfortunately, and I mean really unfortunately, we turned the ball over in our own territory. The only benefit here is that there's 4 minutes left in the game, which means it would be incredibly difficult, next to impossible, for him to clock us and take this victory with a touchdown. So what you're going to see here is Rashid got wide open though. And OG has one of the best speed bursts in the game. You can see he throws it, speed burst, touchdown instantly. So obviously that's frustrating, but we got back on offense and we actually scored quite quickly. So with 3 minutes and 15 seconds left, we tried to clock him, but we actually end up scoring really quick. He ends up giving the touchdown up on the 2nd and 13. Now we could have been like, oh, I'm not going to throw it, I'm going to clock, you know, but with 2 minutes and 28 seconds left, so he has the 2-minute warning and the timeout, still would have been quite difficult. So when someone gives you a touchdown here to take the lead, you do kind of take it. And that's what I did here. He played really smart defense for the situation, which is keeping a cloud and, you know, giving up the deep play to make sure that we were, you know, unable to clock him out of the game. We go for 2. We do get it. This is one of my staple plays. This route will pull inside a hard flat, and you're going to see the hard flat's going to pull inside. We just throw that, right? Super dot. He gets the ball back again. In this case, we are in cover 4 quarters. Man's up. Problem is, he can run. OG can run, right? He is one of the best runners in the world, probably one of the best, at least top 5 speed boosts in the world. So OG is very difficult to stop in this situation. The benefit is, since we got the 2-point conversion, he would need 8 points to beat us. So what you're going to see here is we're just going to run a lot of base defense. We're going to play bend, don't break. We're going to make sure he can't stop the run, because the goal is make him force 1 pass, right? We should have made that tackle in the backfield. That was just cover 3 buzz. We're planning for the shoot. Realistically, you have to play here. You can't play all or nothing, because what he could do is take a big play and just go down. And since we don't only have 2 timeouts, if he goes down at, let's say, the 30-yard line, it would be difficult for us to try to prevent him from clocking. So in essence, we want to play bend, don't break until maybe the 20-yard line, depending on how much time is left, right? So in this case, still bend, don't break. We try to make that tackle, keep the clock moving. Now in 1v1 games, they're just like kind of mud head-to-head games and MUT games in general, in that there's runoff. So this is going to run down to 25 seconds every single time he has a play in bounds. So he is in a bit of a rush, to be honest. He is in a bit of a rush. So playing bend, don't break isn't the worst thing. Problem is, he has this insane speed boost. So if you don't get your run shoot off, you are screwed. So although I love this defense, 3-3 Cub, you have to be, it's not like double mug where you automatically shoot runs. It's a better run D because you can shoot more runs, but you have to shoot them. Like, you have to do it with your user. You can't just, pray that the defense does it for you, which double mug when you blitz does. So right here, we're actually sending 5. We're trying to cover everything, but he hits us with an insane dot. So our slot corner Baron, I believe, our outside corner is 93 speed. He gets outrun on a post by Shaheed. The Seahawks, once again, great receivers, solid O-line, elite running back, one of the best in the game, great defense, great D-line. The only problem is the quarterback. But if the quarterback is making the throws, they're one of the best teams in the game. So he's thinking, I'm going to go for 2, and then he decides against it, right? Because either way, 3 wins the game, and maybe he wants me to be like, oh, I'll take it to overtime. Well, that's not how I play it. So what we do on offense, we move, we do our absolute best, and on 3rd and 3, we call this play here. What ends up happening is the streak on circle gets inside leverage on this outside corner. It looks like he's about to make a play on us, but somehow, some way, we do end up catching the ball and winning the game. So we knee it, and then we take our 3 for the game. So overall, an elite game to OG. He really did kind of figure out the defense later in the game. But nonetheless, the real focus here is you get some insane sheds. In 3-3 Cub, if you have a great defensive tackle and some solid defensive ends, you can get some insane sheds. You can shoot runs. You can blitz to both sides. It really is one of, if not the best defense in the game right now. It's also very difficult for your opponent to predict. And if you mix in, really use almost a lot, not even mix in, the D-pad switch and map it to a paddle, whether using a Scuff, an Edge controller, an Xbox Elite, it can truly make the difference
in how effective your defense is. So that is the 3-3 Cub. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're looking for another defensive video, maybe just on coverage shells, on double mug, which you can also use, check out the video right over here. Awesome video going over double mug. Double mug, one of the best defenses in the game as well, and you can really use them situationally.